Now, if you're a winning team, you can't change a captain when you're going for finals.
Absolutely not. What happens when the captain breaks?
When the captain breaks, the team has the capacity to sustain their victory.
When you're doing deployments like at the NUP offices, you're saluting the soldiers or policemen or whatever force that is going to do the activities at the NUP offices. This is out of curiosity. What do you expect the public to perceive? How do you expect them to react? And what runs into your thoughts as a leader? Well, the Leaders Podcast, People, Purpose and Progress, with me, Simon Chris Makanga. Thank you so much, friends, for those of you that have joined this community, a community of like-minded people, and I'm talking about leaders who are interested in constructive conversations that are going to take this country forward. Our special guest tonight is Major General Felix Kulaigye. I've been watching him from a distance and I've been curious at least to sit at his feet and learn and also sip that wisdom from him as you also sit back and learn. Major General Felix Kulaigye.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you on the Leaders Podcast, People, Purpose and Progress.
I like that. People, purpose and progress. Triple P. Okay?
Absolutely. General, allow me to take you back when you were little. Did you ever dream of you putting on that uniform and raising your hand to salute?
No. My childhood ambition was to be a newscaster, a news anchor.
Okay.
When I was 4, 5, 6, the old man had a radio, a small radio called Sanyu. I don't think you have come across it. Sanyu were old radios of the 60s and 70s.
As a brand name?
A brand name.
I think I saw
Japanese.
it. Yeah, I saw it.
Yes. And he used to tune radio news. Each time there was news, whether Radio Uganda or Radio Rwanda or any Swahili services, because he knew Kiswahili, he would tune. So me, I learned Kiswahili from home, not even from the army. I picked interest in news anchors. At that time, there was a man called Damulia Christopher, may he so rest in peace.
Indeed.
And then Danichaz died very recently.
Recently, yes.
He was on Radio 1, Kubi Akabozi.
Yes.
They had nice voices. So whenever I would find an old newspaper, Uganda newspaper, I would pick it and now imitate their voices. That changed. Later on, I wanted to become a priest.
Aye.
Why? As I was growing up, I was growing in faith as well. And where my father was a strong Catholic. I was in a Catholic school. I was an altar boy. So I grew interested in priesthood. But I applied in 4 seminaries and they rejected me.
That's an interesting story, you know.
But God is good. I have had occasions to teach priests now.
So now most of your purpose has been served best in the army?
Yes.
And I'm curious to understand, how did you know that, okay, this calling is coming, I need to go and serve the army?
The army, I can't tell you, was a calling.
What happened?
In the month of October 1978, my daughters here will begin wondering whether that year ever existed, because they are children of yesterday. A soldier beat me. Having held my eye upside down, out of embarrassment, he kicked me and I fell down. So I promised God and myself I would put on the uniform
one day,
so that my son is not kicked.
And you meant it?
I meant it. I'm one man who lives by my word. If I tell you I will do this, come rain, come sunshine, I do it.
Wow. Now, Major General Felix Kulaigye.
Yes.
Your journey has been witnessed by so many people, even those that are going to be watching this.
Right.
You have watched so many governments transform, but there is this roaming fear. I have seen and heard from people, especially close to those that I've interviewed. Most of them say we have this fear as a nation that we have not had a peaceful transfer of power.
Right.
And come January 2026, Ugandans will be going to exercise their democratic right. of which you are part of as the army. How do you see the transition coming?
You see, I know the human nature. There's a book I'm reading, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. It's an Indian author. Ageless Body.
Ageless Body.
Timeless Mind.
Timeless Mind.
Yes. Time should not be controlling your mind. We have grown up in nature of being controlled by forces around us instead of being at peace with our environment. And so because we had an unstable past, a history of 24 years of instability, the stability of 40 years has become, as a surprise, but two, now it becomes too long to be boring. Right? And so I've had a talk, we should have another leader. Yes, we should have another leader. But what is the circumstance determining another leader? You know, if you decide to go into elective politics, then accept the dynamics of elections. That the contending forces will bring out their best to compete. Right?
True.
Now, if you're a winning team, you can't change a captain when you're going for finals.
Absolutely not. What happens when the captain breaks?
Now, when the captain breaks, the team has the capacity to sustain their victory, to not be like a Man U that's now in 16th position. After Ferguson left, the glory has gone. What this army you see here has done, under the guidance of the very man, the Commander-in-Chief, President Museveni, is to build for posterity. We have built a security system for posterity. And so the imagination of what happens when Mr. President Museveni is no more, Uganda will continue. He knows it, we know it.
Maybe the public doesn't.
The public doesn't, because those who are shouting loudest sow seeds of fear. And I want to tell you, Mr. Makanga, the greatest weapon of the enemy, called Satan, is fear.
You know, General, you could be a student of Sanchu.
Sun Tzu.
Yes.
Some call him Sun Tzu. We, the Chinese, call him Sun Tzu. Yes.
You know, I read a lot about him.
Good.
He says, know yourself and know your enemy. I don't know whether the opposition could be the enemy of the ruling government. I don't know. But when you're doing deployments like at the NUP offices, you're saluting the soldiers or policemen or whatever force that is going to do the activities at the NUP offices. This is out of curiosity. What do you expect the public to perceive? How do you expect them to react? And what runs into your thoughts as a leader?
You know, the military or security agencies don't operate on perception. They operate on intelligence. 1. 2, intelligence is influenced by new information. 2, by practice. What's the practice of NUP? Last week, the Democratic Party had a delegates conference in Mbarara. Were there military deployment? No, they were not. They were not. So why do you think we deploy at NUP? NUP is not an enemy of the ruling party. After we don't serve a party, we serve a government. But elements within NUP behave contrary to normal behavior of society. Now, it's better you forestall a calamity than sitting to watch and react. All political parties here are free to operate. You know it. But when you employ hooliganism to exercise freedom, quote and unquote, then we have to employ methods to bring it to order. Tell me, which political party has actors that have insulted people like the NUP actors have done? Actually, their trademark is insults. True or false?
I don't know.
You don't know? Don't pretend. Now there we shall disagree.
Yes, I know of some people that I will not mention names, that they speak words and you also flinch back and you're like...
Thank you very much. Even the NUP leader himself. Publicly, he was on air on Baba TV. Museveni Fara, President of the Republic of Uganda, where you live.
As a leader, how would you discipline an individual like that?
No, as a leader, for starters, you counsel. You talk to the person. Now, when the person is averse to advice, then you employ some tough measures to make the person either understand or come to order. You see, management of society calls on several measures or approaches to deal with that society. When you're a leader, what is your objective?
Is to plant your seed into your subordinates.
No. First objective is to get where you have a place where you want to go. You must have a vision.
A goal.
Thank you. Where you want to take the people you are leading. Not you. People you are leading. Now, if that vision is not shared by those you are leading, you walk alone. But two, once you have the majority that have accepted that vision, and the minority want to destroy that vision, the obligation is upon you to protect the vision and those who believe in it.
You see, General, I'm coming from a school of thought, and I'm being very honest.
Feel free.
You see, I'm wondering how did we get there? But the thought that comes into my mind is that if we didn't have democracy, probably we could have a different setup. But we got here because of democracy.
True.
And I've listened to so many people, and I've read a couple of books about democracy. In Africa, Uganda in particular, I think we misinterpreted it to the fact that it has disunited us more than we should be united. I don't know why.
This is an approach to your observation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, and I'm wondering, 40 years of existence under NRM, democracy requires us to have periodic elections.
Yes.
But every time we go into an election, I hate you, you hate me, but you are my brother. You have the same blood, I have the same blood. You come from the same clan, I come from the same clan. But you support NRM, I support NUP, so we have boundaries. And I'm wondering, don't you think it's a high time we started having conversations about designing a system that can unite us more than democracy has disunited us?
Before I answer that question, I may need to share with you history. Britain started parliamentary democracy in 1350. 1350 AD. But women were allowed to vote in 1929. After 7 centuries. Even today, in UK, in some sections, women earn less than their male counterparts. You are not talking about a third world country. You are talking about the origin of democracy. What does that tell you? It takes time.
Takes time.
It takes time. Now, you have a country ruled by colonialists for 70 years without democracy. Okay? Then you are thrown into political parties. One, the country was not allowed to grow politically. Two, these political parties are started in 1952. By 1960, you have gone in for election. 61 actually. You mean in 7 years they were mature enough? Two, political parties emerged in Europe based on ideological differences, based on production relations. Now I've gone to political economy. Workers started the Labour Party in UK. The landlords, those who owned land, remained in formed the Conservative Party. Will you tell me there are ideological differences here. So in the absence of ideological differences, the only rallying position, therefore, or basis, was tribe and religion. Have you read Song of Lawino?
No.
Oh, then what have you read?
I will read it.
If you are a journalist worth of mention, you should read Song of Lawino, Song of Okoro by Okot Biteke. Lawino is lamenting. Her husband and his brother are on each other's throat. Because one is putting on white and green robe, the other is putting on red and black. She was talking about the divisions in the country based on UPC and DP. This is 60s. Now, in my humble view, that was testimony that we were not ready for multipartism. And therefore, that's why NRM, NRA came with the movement system. Individual merit. The Tony Makanga and Kulayigye contest, the electorate will look at the capabilities of each one of us and vote for us because of our character and ability. Now, when you introduce parties, it's no longer the individual, it's the color of the party.
How do we come out from there?
How we come out? Swallow our humble pie and go back to the movement. In fact, let's see Ogwal said it.
What's in the movement?
The movement, like I've told you, you all belong to one. Like you are traveling in a bus. Do you mind whether you are seated to her who is dark like you or her who is lighter? Do you?
Is it a must that if you're in the movement, you must agree?
No. Even within the movement, even now, there are divergent convictions. But you agree on the main objective.
How do you deal with those that you don't agree with?
You engage. You dialogue. And you see, if you are in the same parenthood, you don't fight. You disagree or you agree to disagree. It is in this country that people see their political opponents as enemies. Again, because of political immaturity. And I'm very confident in saying this without fear of contradictions. So until we mature, and I want to say this, by the way, on camera, there is no democracy anywhere in the world. It does not exist.
Where is it hidden that we speak of?
It's in our illusion. It's an illusion. There is no society that is completely free. No. There are restrictions.
Should we get scared?
No. You actually should retrace your steps so that you get back, you get out of the wrong way we took as a society and get back the right way, and should be the starting point. And like I've told you, for us who saw the 60s as a young child, the 70s of dictatorship, the early 80s of a democracy that was a dictatorship as well, saw the movement as a savior. In fact, in 79, when UNLF was formed in Moshi, Tanzania, it was a beginning, an attempt to run away from these party differences. Who destroyed it? The parties again, TP and UPC.
Now, General.
So, allow me to complete this.
Yes,
so,
please.
we get a second chance now in 86, and we say we better go movement. What's that? The same forces, the late Dr. Kawanga Semogera and his DP, and the UPCs, agitated to be let go. And that's why we had the referendum in 2005. I was for no party. I as an individual. But I belong to an army which has no right to decide. We go by what Ugandans have decided.
Now, let's speak of the legacy of our UPDF. The army for so many financial years has been receiving the biggest lion's share of the national cake.
You are mistaken, sir.
The past years.
Which ones?
It's now almost 5 of 6 financial years that the army has not been leading the national...
Correct. Now you are talking.
Yes. But the past years, the army has been receiving the lion's share of the national cake. One would wonder, is there something that you would say that maybe the public will misunderstand about the UPDF?
To begin with, we are to blame. We in government and we in UPDF in particular. We do not talk about our achievements often. We had this notion that came from the bush that actions speak louder than words. And we concentrated on action. When we opened up to politics, then those who were against the rulers saw the strongest pillar of the state as the UPDF. And so it became the target. It's like when you're in boxing and you inflict injury on your opponent, you always go for that injury. Or you look for, like Sun Tzu, you quoted Sun Tzu, you attack the enemy at his weakest.
Yes, true.
Now, here, they failed to attack the weakest because the weakest was not a problem, but they also as weak. The strongest part of the state is the military. And that's why a lot of literature has been written, a lot has been said, and much of it from ignorance about the UPDF. Yes.
What is that the public doesn't know?
The public not only not knowing, but maybe misinformed about the legacy of that budgeting, that financing. Now the legacy is simple. We have built a formidable force. And that's why you are talking of 40 years of stability. It's not by coincidence. It's deliberate, painstaking, and painful planning.
True.
1, 2, most of that money you're talking about went into building capacity. If you want, you can Google the cost of a jet fighter today.
How much average?
$30 million.
Whoa.
Yes. A missile alone, a missile, which you're going to fire and won't come back, is $2 million, $3 million. Yes.
For what?
It's not buying a home. For what? National defense is not a luxury. You have been able to walk wherever you drove from up to army headquarters undisturbed. Can I suggest you go to Somalia and do the same?
Not really.
Or in South Sudan, where they have burnt business people going to Juba. Stability is a panacea of development, is the bedrock
of development.
True. Nobody would want to bring his money or her money in an unstable environment.
And now, speaking of investment, General, allow me remind you of, I don't know whether
but have you understood this? That for you to build national defense and stability,
it's costly.
It's costly. Okay? And when we saw we had achieved a modicum of stability and the capacity to defend the country and the people, then we lost that priority position of number 1 to number 6.
This gives me a thinking that as a public we walk along the streets and we hardly know what is happening behind the back in terms of our safety, but I must commend you that you're doing a great job. I, for one, I have walked to different borders of this country. I have driven to Gulu many times in the night and I've not been disturbed. I've crossed Karuma very many times.
But there was a time you could not cross Karuma without a convoy.
Let me tell you this story, General. When I was little, I had an opportunity to grow with my auntie. And she was a nurse at Ngeta. In Ilira.
In Ilira?
Yes. So I had the chance to stay in Ngeta Primary for 2 terms. Why I left, there were rumors that Kony was planning to attack. And were evacuated in an army truck. I remember crossing Karuma in the night, but by the time I came to Kampala, one shoe was missing.
So you can see what instability means.
I must commend you on that.
So for us to achieve this, it takes leadership.
True.
That has a vision. That too knows how to prioritize. Instead of spending money on a saloon, you spend money on strengthening the walls and the security of the house. Are you getting me?
I do.
2, that even within the military, this money was not spent on us at individual level. For a long time, the UPDF was the most poorly paid army on the continent. Until 3 years ago, as a general, I was earning 1.7 million. Total package, including my allowances for my books that I took time to read, was 1.7 million.
But General, do you think people can believe that?
Finance is there. Go and ask them.
There are many people earning that money, but they don't look healthy like you.
Mindset. Even as a private, when I was earning 1,900 shillings, I looked nice. In fact, I was a celeb.
But let's be honest. Do you think
Yes.
the public can believe in that?
It does, they don't. I don't. You see, the Bible is very clear. Don't mind what they think about you. Mind what I call you. So God says. Yes.
General, let's speak to the growing population over this country.
Right.
70 or 80% are youth.
It's actually 72%.
72%
Yes.
are youth. Some of them are desperate for change. Some of them are lost. Some of them are nursing mental health issues. Some of them are on social media. It looks like a generation that needs a lot of direction.
Yes.
But it's very loudy.
Yes.
How are you planning to deal with that generation?
You see, a young person is by nature energetic. In fact, if a young person is not energetic, there's a problem with him or her. They are sick if they are not energetic. But what helped this energy in the past was socialization from home. That's why there was a saying, it takes a village to bring up a child.
Yeah.
You think it was a cliche? No.
There were thought attached to it.
The family lived in a setting. There were family values, there were community values. And these were instilled in a child. So by the time you become 15, 16, you have been groomed. You have been brought up. Today, many of the youth have just grown up. There's a difference between the two. It's not their fault. It is our fault. That the family is broke. Today, you have majority of young people that are products of single parentage.
True.
Not because one parent died like my case. No. Breakup.
Pride and selfishness.
Where did it come from? And until you trace something from the root, you are simply wasting time. What society do we have in the 60s and the 70s? 60s, the society was rural-based, and therefore community-based. Come 70, the values start going. Why? One, state agents start invading homes to beat up fathers. Here in Central Region and the Western. Now, a child grows up knowing that the strongest person on earth is his or her father. Now some little fellow comes and he begins beating this fellow. And he's saying, Mama Nyabo Banzita. Now a man is calling his mother. Society begins losing the headship, the head.
True.
The head is crying to his mother. Do you think this child who has grown seeing his father crying to his mother will respect him?
Not really.
Now, those are the parents today.
And they're a challenge to you.
Of course they are. Those are the parents today. The parents of these young people. Are we the products of that kind of environment that we grew in? Two, the second level of socialization was the school. Idi Amin killed the education system completely. We respect the teachers more than even our own parents. Teachers lost respect. Because money took center stage. The smugglers became the heroes. And until we analyze society from that angle, we are wasting our time. Now, NRM comes in. And what was the priority? Stabilization of the country. Both in terms of politics, in terms of security, and the economy. Society was left to the church, to the local leaders.
And the cultural leaders.
And the cultural leaders. Which cultural leaders in many places have not been restored. Cultural institutions were destroyed in the 60s. The teachers who were supposed to be helping who had lost respect in society. Now it was the churches, the religious institutions. Commerce entered that side as well. How can you have the same society?
I like your analogy of where we are. And I'm wondering...
I'm a social scientist.
And thank you so much. I must commend you for that.
Thank you, sir.
That's great wisdom indeed.
Because it has been just eating me up. Where did we go wrong? And I've had to analyze and look for where we went wrong.
And I'm sure within that pot where you pick that wisdom of analyzing where we came from, there must be another great wisdom to identify where can we go.
Yes.
How do we get out
For
from
starters,
there?
we need to deal with the parents.
Deal with the parents.
Yes. So that we salvage the young generation after you. The one which is after you. If you have to be dealt with now with the counseling, with the law. But now how do we nurture the younger ones?
Our
10 and below.
Our children.
Your children. I have a grandson. He's making 8 this year. Actually next month. No, September. I'm interested in how my son is grooming this son of his. But me, I'm not worried because my son was groomed by me. Wherever I went, I made sure I was part of his life. Yes.
Intentionally.
Intentionally. Because I understood my responsibility as a parent. By the way, it's a divine responsibility that you must bring up a child that is responsible. It's a duty. It's not a favor. We owe it to God. We owe it to our country. And anybody who has failed in that venture, you have a case to answer before God. And I'm afraid many of us are going to hell because of that.
We fail on our responsibility.
Yes.
And allow me also remind you this, that our primary responsibility here on earth, you see the difference between the bush and the garden, is order.
Correct.
And our primary responsibility is to put this bush and put it into order.
Correct.
Some of us have failed in so many aspects of ordering our lives. Family is one of them. You go to employment, sometimes you find we've been consumed by lots of vices like anger, pride, all those things.
And greed.
And greed.
Yes, don't fear it.
And greed.
Yes.
But then I'm wondering, General, how would we organize society, and which is very central to you and your activities as one manning security of the country? How do we organize society to bring order?
Man by nature must have somebody he or she is answerable to.
Accountability.
Accountability. Whom are we accounting to? I am accountable to the Chief of Joint Staff, to the CDF, and the Minister and the PS. Me, by virtue of my position. Whom are you accountable to?
God.
That's all. Before you reach God, who else is accountable to?
My parents.
Because God is ultimate.
My mentors.
Thank you very much. So there has been this guiding principle for us. How will it be hard that Kulayigye stole? How will it be hard that Kulayigye raped a girl? That conscience of fearing society's judgment is lacking in your generation. You are like wild animals in the jungle, to whom it may concern. God for us all and everyone for himself. That's the misery. Now, we are blaming government for everything. But who is government?
It's me.
Thank you very much.
I like that conversation, General, because I gave up on reading the book of Lamentation. And I've distanced myself.
You are not allowed to add a chapter.
And in my life, honestly speaking, my friends know this. I do not accept people who lament. My circle is full of people who read the book of Acts. Because I believe in every problem.
Actually, if you find somebody is a lamenter, avoid him or her.
True.
That's a negative force.
I know. Because if we are speaking about a problem, within that seed of problem, there's a seed of a solution.
A solution, yes.
So what I'm speaking must be a solution to that problem that we are talking about. So I am also coming from that school of thought.
Colin Powell says, General Colin Powell, that leaders are solution givers.
True.
Yes.
True.
If you have no solution, you have no business in leadership.
General, allow me to tap into your leadership skills.
Yes, sir.
I'm reading a couple of leaders, and most of them speak of one thing as integrity.
Right.
That you must speak one thing, and your actions must also do the same thing.
You live your talk.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering what has been your key principle to life?
A leader must produce a leader. Yes. My track record, where I've passed, have I left leaders? The people I commanded as a lieutenant, second lieutenant, they are colonels. I've even now got a brigadier.
Well done.
Thank you. That is leadership. The common practice in public service, when someone sees a person with potential, they hit on the head.
Greed.
They fear this one is coming to replace me. You were not born with this office. I have been away from here for 3 months. The army must continue. Yes.
And congratulations upon your promotion.
Thank you. So, the principle, produce leaders. 2, what is good for me is good for him.
True.
So my primary interest is he working in the right conditions? But there are leaders you have had, you deploy people in the field and you remain with their allowances. How are they going to work?
I know.
Without eating?
I know.
3, young ladies like these ones come to your department and you turn on them. The legendary Uganda saying,
I know. Jen, how do you deal with those that you don't agree with as a leader?
I counsel. I talk to them. I express my views. By the way, I'm one person that is forthright. I speak my mind. Have I earned myself enemies? A big yes.
How do you deal with that?
Well, it's their own business. Yes. Because I will never tell you what I don't believe in. 2, if I tell you your tie needs to be adjusted, it's for your own good, not for me. 3, if therefore you think I'm a problem, deal with it your own way. And for me, I serve God and He has protected me.
Have you ever regretted wearing that uniform?
No. First of all, I took a decision long ago never to regret anything I've done.
So you have no regrets?
I don't. I'm actually very proud of the decision I took. Yes. Because I can tell you, no other institution would have given me the same opportunities like this army has given me to serve my country, to show my best, like the army.
Wow, how do you stay relevant?
1,
The heart.
the spirit that drives you. Yes. I never get tired. No. I have told people I only get tired when I enter the house.
Hey.
Yeah. Because now the mind realizes I've finished.
Aye.
So before I finish, I am on my... Last night I went to bed at 1. By 5 I was up.
Oh.
And that's the life I've lived for many, many years.
What
I sleep 4
motivates
hours. There's a lot to do. My Munyere said, when an African finds others walking, he should run. Because we are backward.
Take off.
Now in this country it is even worse. Few of us are working. Majority are masqueraders. Yes.
What scares you the most?
What's not scaring me, what worries me?
What worries you the most?
A lost generation. You. Because you are very vulnerable to the colonization.
What would you tell your 35-year-old yourself?
That the reality of life is, I have a column in our magazine called The Reality of Life. The reality of life is, you build your own life. You are responsible for what you have become.
That's true.
You cannot continue blaming your parents.
No way.
No. My father, by the time I came to understand he had lost his bicycle, he no longer had a bicycle. He was walking. I'm driving. That's the difference we make. And his vision was I must be better than him.
True.
My vision, my son and daughter must be better than me.
True.
And my struggle was to make sure I'm better than my father.
True.
That was a challenge.
True.
I'm like a Konko. Or Konko always wanted to be better than his father.
Yes, yes. True.
So, you who is 35, what is your future? What do you see yourself being in 5-10 years?
The young goat or the kid looks at the mother and emulates everything.
Correct.
The calf looks at the mother and learns how to eat. This generation is learning from you.
The difference between...
What are we picking from?
The difference between those two, the two animals and the human beings, the other ones follow instinct, for us we have brains.
But they're doing better.
Precisely, they follow instinct. For you, you are given a brain to see what we have done and judge and determine whether to do better than us or to remain where you are. Ultimately, the blame is yours.
Really?
Oh, yes. You know, I don't know who brought this notion that others are to blame for your failures. Like I've told you. For example, I paid my school fees from senior 5. I don't blame those who abandoned me. No. I focus on how to survive these 2 years before I enter university. I succeeded. All right? The issue is, when a challenge comes, God gave you the parameters. He gave you the raw materials to deal with the challenges before you. The first mistake is to expect that others care about you.
Have you ever doubted God?
Me? I believe in God. Jesus Christ is my personal Savior and Lord.
You've never doubted him?
I have survived because of God's grace. The things I've gone through couldn't be personal. It was God's hand. So I cannot doubt him. I believe in him. I have faith in him 101%.
Interesting.
Yes.
How do you deal with disappointments?
Disappointments, in my view, are temporary learning points.
Temporarily
learning points. Yes. Because you see, no one told you human beings will ever be perfect. They are not. You love your wife so dearly, but tomorrow you find her with another man, or she brings a child from another man. Will you commit suicide?
No.
But God is the same today, tomorrow, and yesterday.
Wow. Jenna, what do you want to be remembered for? 100 years you and I won't be here.
No. I want to be remembered as a person that touched other people's lives positively. Yeah.
Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Geno. I've been watching you and I've listened to you from way back, honestly speaking. Today could be my fourth time we're engaging. The other times were when I was still active in the media.
You're engaging me as a mpakasi. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Geno.
You're welcome.
May God bless you and may He protect you for us, because we still need a lot of wisdom from you.
Please keep praying for me.
This country,
prayer is powerful.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Geno. Friends, that is it for the Leaders Podcast, People, Purpose and Progress. I've had a great conversation with Major General Felix Kulaigye. May this conversation shift something on how you look at the leadership of this country. May this conversation do a shift on how you think. My name is Simon Chris Makanga, and may the good Lord of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob be with you until we meet in another video. For now, it's a bye-bye.